Hey guys, it's Miss Kalanicky. Slept all day yesterday and still don't feel any better, so I'm going to try to rest some more today. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Alright, so today we're going to work on translating and solving inequality word problems. So these are going to be one-steppers that involve either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. So be prepared for each type. So I'm going to do a model problems with you, and then you're going to work on a partner problem, and then an independent problem, and then you're going to start this awesome chart I have for you. Alright, so you should copy down the homework. There is homework, it's due Tuesday, so make sure you write that down. And here we go. Number 1. Students in a science class are split into 6 equal groups with at least 4 students in each group for a project. Write and solve an inequality that represents the number of students in the class. Okay, so I read that the first time. I'm going back now and I'm figuring out what I need to look for. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the number of students. Since they don't give me a letter, I'm going to write a let statement. And since I'm looking for students, I'm going to call it let S equal the number of students. Now I'm going to go back and read again and see if I can highlight and look for some other clue words. Students in the class are split into 6 equal groups with at least 4 students in each group. Okay, so that's where I'm going to translate. So these students are now split. Split means what operation? So my S, my group of students, is split into 6 equal groups with at least 4 in each group. Now, at least is a clue word. If you're not sure which of our symbols goes with that clue word, go back and look at the first day. We have a chart. You can pause the video, go back and look. At least. If I want at least 4 students in the group, do I want less than 4, more than 4? Could it equal 4? Go back and look, see if you can find it. Come back to the video when you're ready. Okay, at least. Think about our real life example. You have to be at least 16 to drive a car, which means you have to be, you could equal 16, or you could also be greater than 16. So that's the same at least here. Okay, now I have to solve it. So now I just wrote a division problem because this is a dividing problem. In order to solve it, I'm going to have to multiply. I'm going to multiply both sides by 6 because that's the number I'm dividing by. That crosses out. I don't switch my symbol. Remember, I only switch my symbol when I'm multiplying or dividing by a negative number, which here I am not. And positive 6 times positive 4 is positive 24. So my answer would be I have at least, I'm going to use the same clue word, I have at least 24 students. So I'm going to type that as my answer, and I want you to box that out. Okay, so that's my answer. I use the same clue word that they gave me, except I am using it in my answer. So my answer is my class has at least 24 students in it. Didn't mean to do that, sorry. Alright, so now the second type of question I have here for my model problem, it's a little more simplified. A number S minus 3 4/10 is at most 12. Alright, so reading again, this time I'm highlighting. A number S minus 3.4 is at most 12. Again, at most is another clue word. So if you need to go back and look for it. I know I can do S minus 3.4. That's pretty easy. At most 12, again, if you need to go back and look for it. At most means the most it can be is 12, which means, if you think about it, it could equal 12, at most 12. But most likely, if it's at most 12, the most it could be is 12, that means it has to be less than or equal to 12. Now that I wrote a subtraction problem, I need to add to solve it. So I'm going to add on both sides. What am I adding? I'm adding the number that is on the same side as my variable. Now, watch out, don't get tricked by the adding on the right side. Again, no multiplying or dividing, so my inequality symbol stays the same. Where's the decimal point in 12? Where's the decimal point in 12? Here? 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 Well, this says 12. I don't want to change it. I don't want it to say 1.2. I don't want it to say 0.12. It just says 12. So I'm putting the decimal point here, which means my actual 3.4 needs to kind of get, ooh, watch out. My 3.4 kind of needs to be moved over a little bit. So now they're lined up. And if I wanted to, I could even add a placeholder over here. So now I'm going to add 0 plus 4, 2 plus 3, 1 plus nothing, bring down the decimal point. So my answer is less than or equal to 15 and 4/10. Okay, we're at the partner problem now, so you can either work with, depending on what the sub or Ms. Freifeld asks, your neighbor or your behind partner to work on this problem. Again, exactly what I did. You read it once, highlight what you're looking for. Actually, I'm going to type it because I think it'll be faster. I'm going to go through the 3 steps you should be doing right now. Read it once, go back and highlight what you're looking for. You might need a let statement. Then you need to reread and highlight keywords. And then write your inequality. Again, you may need to find a clue word, something that tells you which one of these symbols you're going to be using. So do it. Take like 2 minutes, give it a try, do what you can do. And even if you maybe don't have the exact same thing I have, maybe you could figure out what kind of number it is, and I'll give you some clues. So pause the video, come back when you're ready to go over it. Alright, so let's start highlighting. You spend $35, you can spend $35 on a shopping trip. You want to buy a t-shirt that costs $14. Write and solve an inequality that represents how much money you would have to still spend. So I want to know really like how much money is left over. How much money do I still have to spend? Okay, so I'm writing a let statement for that because they didn't tell me what letter to use. Let's call it M for money. M is representing the money I have left to spend. Alright, now I'm going to read it one more time and see what I can do. It says I can spend $35. Okay. But I want to buy a t-shirt that costs $14. So there's 2 kind of ways to write this, and let's see which one you were thinking about. Because your thinking can be right if you're doing it 2 different ways. If I'm saying I can spend $35, that's kind of like my total. I could spend equal to 35, but I can't spend more than it. So it have to be a less than sign. Because I don't have any more money than $35. I can't spend more than that. I want to buy, I have some money, and I also want to buy that t-shirt that costs $14. So this is one way to write it. A second way to write it, if you didn't see it this way, think about this one, because you might have thought of it this way, saying, Ms. Kalanicky, all I have to do is subtract. That's right, too. So if you put M for money here, use the same exact symbol, and just do what you thought you had to do, which is just do the subtraction, you could write it this way also. So either way you do it, you're going to have to do the same math. So this one is almost a little easier because it kind of tells you what to do right away. I would just do 35 minus 14, and on the side, I'm going to write it vertically so I can see it. 5 minus 4 is 1, 3 minus 1 is 2. So I have, at most, $21 left to spend. If I had to do it this way, I would do minus 14 on both sides. And look, oh, the same answer. That's crazy. So how much money can I still spend? I could have, at most, or you could even just say less than or equal to $21. There we go. Answering the question. All right. Now there's a problem for you to try by yourself. So pause the video, try it out. You are going to need a let statement because I did not tell you what letter to use. So write a quick let statement Pick your favorite letter. Let something equal a number. You can even use the number sign. It's even easier. And then translate it and solve it. Come back when you're ready to go over it. All right, welcome back. A number. I always call it X or N. Those are the most popular. But if you want to pick your name, that's fine. A number, X, divided by 7. Divided by 7. Again, I don't want to see this. We're out of this range. We're not doing division signs anymore. We're going to do more fractions. That's how you're going to see them. So if you wrote it this way, just switch it around. Write it this way. A number X divided by 7 is less than -3. There's my less than sign. That's it. Is less than. Now, be careful because sometimes when we did equations, the word less than meant subtract. But when it says is less than, that means a less than sign. All right, now I have to solve it. This is obviously a dividing problem. To undo it, I need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by what? You're right, 7. My 7s will cross out. Do I switch my sign? Do I make it a greater than? No, because I did not multiply by a negative number. My red number is positive, so keeping it this way. Different signs, negative, so I have a negative answer. 3 times 7 is 21. So if you got this, you are awesome. If not, we're going to keep trying. All right, turn your page over. I think it's on a different page. I want you to start from the bottom of this chart and work your way up. And you're going to say, Miss Kalanicky, this one is exactly the same as the one we just did. I know. But I want you to try not to look at it and try to start it from scratch again. Reinforce what we just talked about. You just watched me go over it. Do this one and this one. Play the video. Let the sub play the video. I'll go over it. And then we'll do the next two up to be a knight and the final to be the king of the castle. So you get to start out as kind of a servant. Then you get to be a cool knight, and then you get to be the king. So, or queen, royalty. So give these a try, and again, pause the video right now, do them, then you play the video, I'll go over them, and you do the next level. If there's enough time, we'll try to get all the way to the tippy top. If not, you guys are just going to start lab. So the best thing we can try for right now is these two, and getting these two done also. Think about real life, think about what you have to do with those numbers, and I'll show you a couple different ways to solve these. All right, here we go. Pause the video if you're not ready. I'm going over these. A number. Okay, they didn't tell me, so I do have to write a let statement. Let X equal a number. Okay. A number divided by 7 is less than -3. All right. I just wrote a division problem. To solve it, I'm going to need to do some multiplying. So here we go. I'm going to multiply both sides by 7 because that's the number I'm dividing by. Cross out. X is less than, different signs, negative, -21. There we go. That should sound familiar because we just did this one. The next one, they told me what letter to use. They told me to use the Y. So a number Y plus 2 is greater than -5. All right, I'm going to read that one more time to myself. A number Y plus 2 is greater than -5. All right, draw my line down. Here we go. This is an adding problem. To undo it, I need to subtract. What am I subtracting? I'm subtracting this 2 because that is the number closest to my variable. I want to get that away. Cross it out. I'll write my rule here. What rule is this? Always be careful. Focus on your rule first. It's going to end up being a what? A negative or a positive number? It's going to end up being a negative number because it's same signs. So I will still have a negative number. 5 plus 2 makes 7. So my answer is Y is greater than -7. If you did these, I'm giving you a big thumbs up. Good job. Now pause the video. Try the next two. All right, here we go. You have $9.60 to buy avocados for a guacamole recipe. Guacamole sounds good. You go to the supermarkets where avocados cost $2.40 each. How many avocados can you buy? Oh, that's what I'm looking for. And that's what my let statement's going to be. I'm going to call it A for avocados. Let A equals the number of avocados. Nope. Avocados. Okay. Or you could just write avos if you don't have enough room. Okay. I have 960. That's like my total. We talked about money before. This is all I have to spend. I can spend equal to it, but I can't spend more than it, so it can't be a greater than sign. It has to be a less than sign. If we're talking about how much money I have to spend, I could always spend less. I could also equal it, but I can't be any more than that. Okay. It also says that my avocados cost $2.40 each. Each is a clue word. A clue word for multiply, especially if I'm talking about each one costs. So $2.40 per avocado. So that's where the A is going to go. Each what? Each avocado. That's why the A is going to go there. Okay, now I have to divide. This is a multiplying problem. To solve it, I'm going to need to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by $2.40. There we go. Again, I did not divide or multiply by a negative number, so my symbol is going to stay exactly the same. I'm going to pull out my calculator for you, if it works. There it goes. 240. Ooh, I can buy exactly 4 avocados, or I could buy less if I didn't have enough money. If you did the long division, you would have had to move the decimal point over really only one spot. I mean, the 0 is not really that important. But 4 times 24 makes 96. Exactly. So you would have had to do a little guessing and checking maybe to figure that out. But the number of avocados you can buy at most 4 avocados. There we go. Next one. You want to buy a piece of lumber. After you buy it, you want to cut off 2.4 feet for one project and need at least 8 feet for another project. What is the length of the piece of lumber you need to buy? So what is the length? So let's call that L, but I don't really like L's because L's kind of look like ones. So I'm just going to say W for wood because lumber is wood. Equal the length of wood or lumber. Ooh, not 4, lumber. There you go. Again, if you don't have a let statement, you got to tell me what the letter that you're using stands for. Even if you had to write it on the side somewhere, that's okay. Copy it down. Okay, I'm going to go back and reread and re-highlight. You want to buy a piece of lumber, so that's this W thing. After I buy it, I want to cut off this much. Alright, well, cut off, we all know what operation that is. I'm taking this and I'm cutting off 2.4 feet, which means taking it away. And I need at least 8 feet. Oh, there's a symbol right there for at least. At least. You need to be at least 16 to drive, which means greater than or equal to. Okay, so now that I have my inequality written, I'm going to now solve it. Because it's a subtraction problem, I need to add on both sides 2 4/10. Again, we talked about lining your decimal point up. Remember, 8's decimal is right here. Add a 0 if you need to. That's 10 4/10. So what is the length of the piece of wood? I'm going to use at least 10 4/10. I'm going to label it feet. Avocados. Avos. Alright, if you did these two by yourself, maybe with a calculator help you here, but if you set them up by yourself, good for you. We're going to move on to one more level if there's time. If not, don't worry about it and we'll get started on lab. But if there is time, play the video, keep going, and we'll do the last 2 together. If not, fast forward to the video and we'll work on lab. All right, final 2 questions. You and your 4 friends are planning a visit to an amusement park. You want to keep the cost below $35 per person. How much should the total cost be for everyone to visit the amusement park? Okay? How much should the total cost be? That's going to be my let. We'll call it C for total cost. So you and 4 friends. How many people is that? That's 5 people. Going to the amusement park. You want to keep the cost below $135. Below means, okay, but if I'm looking for the total cost and each person is paying $135, the per person is also giving me kind of a clue. I'm going to take that cost and I'm going to split it amongst my 5 friends, me and my 4 friends. That way, each one of us should only be paying about $135. Whew, that was a little tricky one. Since this is a division problem, you have to solve it by multiplying. Ran out of room, sorry, should have moved it over. C is less than, what's 135 times 5? 15, 16, 17, 5, 6. Ooh, a lot of money. $675. So I have to keep the total less than $675 for each one of us to only pay $135. Whew, last one. If you got up to it, good for you. If not, that's fine too. Fast forward. A circuit overloads. We don't want that to happen. At 2,400 watts of electricity. A portable heater uses 1,050 watts when it's plugged into the circuit. What is the additional number of watts you can plug in without overloading the circuit? All right. So we're looking for watts, so let's call it W. Let W equal number of watts. The circuit overloads at 2,400 watts, which means we probably want it less than that. We probably don't want it to overload. We don't want it to equal it either because it's going to overload it at that. So W plus this heater. Again, another way to write it, if you chose to, you could have done this. Again, there's a couple different ways to write each of those. Even this one, you could have done C is less than 135 times 5. Could have done it that way too. Either way, you're going to have to do this subtraction, which I haven't done, so I'm going to just do it on my calculator real quick, but do it on the side of your paper. And you should get less than 1,350 watts. If I did minus 1050 on each side, got to do a little bit of borrowing, not too bad, but so 1,350 watts. There we go. All right. If it's time for lab, it's time for lab. There is a mini quiz in your in the Friday folder, so you should be taking that has 2 questions on it. One says translate and solve, and the other one says solve and graph. Please make sure you graph it. Draw yourself a number line like this on your quiz, so you remember to graph number 2. Again, this should take you no more than like 10 minutes, so get it done quick. We will then have homework group, so leave your homework out. Homework number 44, leave it out, put it under your desk for right now while you're taking your quiz. And then 4 of you will go to the table to check homework first, and then the rest of you will be working on your IXLs. Again, I saw a lot of people not finish 2 last time. You need to finish 2. Stay focused. Bring the whiteboard over to the other room, or if I got you laptops, stay in this room, but you need to get the work done. All right. Hopefully I will see you guys on Monday. Hopefully I'll be feeling a lot better with extra rest. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.